Welcome everybody to the start of a new Let's Play series. We're going to be playing Legend of Keepers again, mostly because I love this game so much. It's extremely replayable, it's very fun, and every time you finish a mission you just wish you could play more. So I've played as the engineer and I've played as the enchantress, so I thought I would go back to the slaveholder, because while he was the first character to come out and sort of the most standard, he's still very fun to play. He's all about the monsters, he makes his monsters very powerful, but he has okay spells and pretty generally not very great traps. They're going to be serviceable, but as you progress through, his traps are going to fall off a little bit and serve more of a utility background kind of purpose, whereas monsters will be the real star of the show. So let's head on into his info real quick and take a look at what he is. His name is Maug. He's 54 and he is a centaur. So he has the most life, 1200 life, 80 power, 90 speed, and he heals 24 health per week outside of combat. He has pretty good resistances, but he's a little bit vulnerable to air and ice, it looks like. Let's go into his talent tree. Now, I've played him a fair amount. So first I have this Enrage skill here that gives him a 2% chance to gain Enrage each time he takes damage. And so, you know, it's not a high chance, but the enraged damage buff, which is 10%, and I believe it stacks, it can be very helpful, especially because this guy is kind of a powerhouse. Once they get to him, they're kind of screwed. And he can lifesteal back up a little bit too, so the rage enrage really stacks with that pretty well. I also have, each time a monster is defeated, I get a 20% chance that my master, Maug here, gets a stack of shell that reduces damage that he takes. And it looks like I've upgraded his Whiplash so that he regenerates extra life when he uses that attack. He has an attack that hits, I think it's the one in the front, and it does some damage, and then you heal a little bit by that if they're bleeding. So you have an attack that makes them bleed, and then you hit them with Whiplash to capitalize on that and get some of your life back. So he can hold his own for a long time compared to the other masters. And I've given him 1 point here. Damage dealt by the master to heroes affected by bleeding increased by 10%. So you can see so far I've actually buffed him up quite a bit to be sort of a bruiser, a absolute brawler. When the heroes get all the way through the dungeon to him, they actually have the hardest part left to go. Now I do have 3 points here, so let's take a look at some of these other paths I could go down. When a hero is defeated by a monster, grants a chance that the group of monsters gets enraged. That could be useful. Intimidation deals extra morale. I think that is I don't know if that's one of his attacks or one of his spells, but I am interested in trying to do morale stuff with him. And I have, each time a monster is defeated, gives a chance that my master will get enraged, so I'll have more stacks of enraged building up. I could also, so I have 3 points, so I could go up through here and get 20% chance to apply Demoralize 2 with traps that deal morale. That's interesting. Some more morale damage. Training price of monsters is reduced. Oh, that's really cool, actually. Grants each monster in garrison a chance to get 1 additional motivation after a dungeon. I don't usually struggle with that, but it's not something that I would, not like to have. Skeleton dog, vampire. So this is, okay, this is the minion tree, monster and minion tree. Intimidation tree. His attacks here. And then this tree seems to be about taking the fight to the heroes, like sort of attrition, that the longer that they're in the dungeon, the more powerful the dungeon's going to get, especially by the end. Each remaining hero, okay. Plus 10 speed, burning whip, okay. I might go over here and do this motivation stuff. This looks kind of fun. I do want to try doing more motivation related stuff. Oh, I can get this burning whip. But I want this. Let's get that. Cool. Okay, so we can see that with this character, we're going to start on mission 1 because these missions hadn't come out when I had played him, so I'm probably a little bit over-leveled and over-skilled for this, but that's okay. We'll get through it, and then, another point I might come back and hit mission 2. Looks like if I beat this, I'll get this Satyr unit, which I've never seen before. If you haven't seen my first series that I put up on YouTube where I played Lyra the Engineer here, I did have an episode 0 for that series where I talked about all of the mechanics of the game, the masters, the talent trees, the monsters, the traps, the spells, the missions, all that good stuff. So if you want to have an introduction to how everything works, please visit that episode 0 from that series. I'll put a link in the description. But otherwise, this episode we're just going to be just looking at this character and kind of not spending a ton of time on stuff and just sort of jumping in. So it looks like I start with 2 of these orcs, which are just sort of bruisers. We have a skeleton archer, which is one of my favorite characters, a skeleton magus. We have a yetigo and a goblin. And it looks like we have some pretty basic traps, a circular saw for bleeding, bone catapult for morale, rallying horn for morale. Okay, so let's get started. Mission 1. Let's get to work, he says. So, week 1, adventurers. Now let's organize our monsters really quickly. It's suggesting this order, but I don't know. I think I want to do all of my morale damage early on, because it will stack better later on, right? So if they're losing morale, they take more damage. So if I can't kill them off with morale, I can kill them off with damage more easily later on. So let's try doing morale. Let's try killing these heroes with morale. Let's scare them out of the dungeon, collect their delicious tears, and then we'll use those for upgrades. So we have our slaveholder himself as a physical damage attack in the front that regenerates his life if they're affected by bleeding. He has an area attack that causes bleeding, and he has a pretty big morale hit to the front. Wow, that's a lot of morale, actually. Okay, so let's hit these adventurers. Level 1 adventurers. Okay, so we are in. So it looks like the dungeon is going to be trap, monsters are spell, monsters, trap, master. So let's take a look at what our spells are, because I don't remember what he has. He has this looks like his burning whip, the thing we could have upgraded with his talent tree. Fire damage to just the front, but does a pretty strong burn over time. A enrage to the next group of monsters. Or a area of effect morale that applies terrified, and it's actually quite a bit. Morale taken from attacks and traps increased by 50%. It's too bad that I have my morale team first, because if this group was here, I'd be able to do some serious morale damage back there. But that's okay. We'll just use a different thing. We might use this enraged one for damage. We might use the burning whip to finish off the one in the front. We'll decide when we get there. The spell is the only thing you don't choose ahead of time. We choose everything else, and then we choose the spell during the dungeon itself. So let's take a look at our enemies here. We have a thug who does nature damage in the front, applying poison, and does poison damage to the monster with the highest life at the start of the fight. Weak to fire, not super resistant to anything. We have a elf, which again is for some reason a class and not a race. I don't know. Area of effect, ice damage, and heals after a fight once, 1 hero. Maximum, 50% of maximum life, okay. And she's weak to armor and fire, but she has a pretty good ice resistance. I don't think we have ice damage, really. Yeah, just 1 person with ice damage. Nothing else, I don't think. Yeah. And then we have a magician. This is the guy that moves people around. If you've seen my other 2 series, you'll know that I absolutely hate this hero so much, because I either forget to set them up properly, or it completely screws up the whole order of everything. So I hate the magician. Okay, randomly moves all monsters to another position at the start of the first fight. Okay, and AoE fire. So we're going to hit him with morale. Do we want to do the big morale? This only gives them terrified for 4 turns, so I'm not going to be using it back here. So let's give them the biggest morale hit we can right here. Damage and morale dealt increased by 30%. Well, actually, maybe this is better, because then this group of morale damaging heroes can really do a ton of damage, because they'll have that buff for 3 turns. So let's do that. Do the rallying horn, our little goblin guy here to scare them. Okay, monster room number 1. Now the front, okay, we've got Quordud, Argug, and Duvius. So the front's going to take nature. Alright, so the front's the only one that matters, because everybody else is getting hit with AoE. Can't control that, so we'll just plop them down like this. Man, these orcs are big. This is a big orcs. Okay, spell room. Okay, in this room, front is going to take nature. So who has the best nature resistance? And then put this one next, and then this one. Okay. Second trap room. I think we'll do the bone catapult here. Whoever's left, we'll try to spook them out, and then we can use our master's super strong morale attack to scare them to death instead of try to kill them.
Go get some.
All right, he's ready. Duvius, who's not going to get a second turn, it looks like. He's going to die, actually, after this turn. So let's go ahead and get the Fear of the Dead. That was kind of spooky. If you've seen my other two series, you know that I have, not once on YouTube, scared a unit out of the dungeon in any playthrough I've put on YouTube. So this will hopefully be the first episode that I ever managed to do that. Alright, Scream of Terror. That's a cool effect. Look how spooky he is. Watch this. Gosh. Yeah, I would run. Oh, look at this guy's little unhappy face. Oh, no. He's not, he's worried. Heard our employees have been brutally slaughtered. Let's do Intimidation. Those two ran away. Wow, morale taken from attacks and traps increased by 50%. Cool. We can't actually do any morale damage here, so we're going to have to kill her the old-fashioned way, with stabbing. And a poison arrow. And this will probably kill her. That's a lot of poison. Yep, so we got some blood out of her. So we got some tears and some blood. Tears from scaring two away, blood from killing one. We have, what in the world is this? Christmas nonsense! Skeleton Majorette. Are you kidding me? What is this? Kirsten the Skeleton Majorette. What in the world? The physical damage in the front with a candy cane, or AoE fire and morale damage. Oh, we have a knoll. Nature damage gains shell if the target's affected by poison, and we have an ice skeleton. Ice damage and morale applies demoralized. Well, I like that second attack a lot more, but I have to go with this. This is ridiculous. We're taking the Skeleton Majorette. What in the world is happening? If you didn't see my first series with the engineer, I ended up with a monster that is 3 maniacal elves, like Santa's elves, on top of each other's shoulders with knives. It was ridiculous, and I was like, I thought maybe it was a Christmas-related thing, but now here's a second one. I don't know what else lies in store for me here. So we can go to a merchant, an engineer to upgrade our traps, or we can do an event. I think I want to do the engineer and upgrade my morale traps. Like, this horn is pretty good, and so is this one. We can do both of them. Let's do both of them. Yeah, that's scary. Okay. Spent all of our money. Okay, let's do an event. Potion of Evolution. An employee found a strange, unlabeled flask while cleaning and is about to drink it without even checking if it's poisonous. Well, he's a skeleton archer and he's pretty resistant to poison. I think he'll be okay. You recognize it as an evolution elixir +1 level. Will you let them drink it, or will you take it for yourself? So I can sell it for gold. I can encourage him to take it and level up, or I could confiscate it. I think he'll take the level up. Level ups are really good, because that saves me, you know, around the amount of money that I would have got just there, so I'd rather just take that now. Let's actually take a look at what he gained. He gained, well, I'm not 100% sure, but now he has a new passive that he didn't have before, Talus. Attacks apply 1 additional stack of poison if he's in the front. If he's in the back, he gains dodge and +40 speed at the start of the fight. Oh, that's cool. Okay, neat. I like that a lot. So we could do a business trip or an event. Now we only have 1 spare monster, but I like money, so we're going to send somebody away. And it's going to be the one that... Oh, it's this. You can only place one regular trap, but it gains multi-action 1 at the start of the dungeon. +1 trigger per stack. Oh my god, that's cool. So I could just upgrade the crap out of one trap, and it would go off twice. So like this would give demoralize 6. That's ridiculous. I gotta do that. Oh my god. Okay. These adventures are screwed. Did I put monsters in the right spots? I think they are accidentally in the right spots. Hope I don't have 2 and 4. That'd be bad. Okay, so I can only place one regular... What's a regular trap? I don't know. So the bone catapult, we'll find out. One regular trap. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens here. Protean barrel. All right. Who do we have? Shapal, the priestess. Air damage in the front. Replaces one of her penalties with a bonus at the start of her turn 1 time. We have a Ara the Exile. Gives 30% of one hero's maximum morale back after a fight once. That's a little bit annoying, but we're going to do a ton of morale damage in this dungeon. So, air damage in the back. There's air damage in the front. This person has fire damage in the front and does some ice damage. Okay. So, we need air and fire in the front. Well, it's looking like dubious. This might die, though, because that's a lot of damage. At least he resists it a little bit. And then we have air damage in the back. And we'll put whatever the hell this is in the middle. Okay, Kirsten, you got this. Argug, Duvius, and Kirsten. All right, next trap. So I can't place any other traps. Okay, what's a regular trap, though? This is interesting. Spell room, monsters, air, and fire in the front. And it was what in the back? Air in the back. And then this guy in the middle. This is good setup for us.
Prepare to die.
Oh my god.
Holly. I'm giving in.
Okay, we can do the baton throw for physical damage and vulnerable, or fire eater, fire and morale. We want to do morale. Cool. And then fear the dead, fear of the dead. More stacks of... This is ridiculous. Okay, so she replaced those with a buff. We knew she would do that. Oh, they're sad. Uh-oh. Alright, fire eater. Oof. Uh-oh. Our last turn. Chain reaction. He was gonna make it, but the one being defeated scared him a little more, and then he ran away, and then he was the one that had the ability to restore morale, so we actually scared him off before he could do it. I don't even know if we have morale damage in this room. Nope. So that was, well, it wasn't a waste because they take a lot of extra damage, 75% extra damage. 35 nature damage. 89 damage. Holy moly. Poison arrow. Oh, that's gonna be the end of her. Wow. Well, I am liking this playthrough a lot already. Okay, look, look at these colorful characters. Okay, we got 5 blood, 8 tears, 53 gold. We have a goblin drummer who does air damage and air weakness and can enrage the group of monsters. Not bad. Skeleton scientist. What on earth is this? Area damage, nature, and poison. Air and morale in the front. And bounty. Alfred, the skeleton scientist. Or an ice skeleton. AoE, ice damage, and morale applies demoralized. Oh man, I want this guy so funny, but I want this one. This is the. I think this one's better for our team because of the morale. I mean, that's a lot of morale. But minus 10. The demoralized 2 will stack with the traps. Oh man, I'm gonna have to take the ice skeleton, but one day I'll come back for whatever this thing is. Okay, so we got some morale changes. So we could go to the merchant, but we can only afford... Must be able to buy something. Oh, yeah, okay. Skeleton dog. Ooh. But that wouldn't help us in this playthrough because they would never be demoralized, most likely because I only have one trap. So, yeah. Okay, so which one of these do we want? Somebody who just, like, stays alive. Someone has 5 less health. Physical damage and bleeding. Applies enhanced resistance to the monster of the group at the front and guaranteed critical to the one at the back. What's enhanced resistance do? I don't know what that actually does. Guaranteed critical. I think we want the dog. This is kind of a... It's like both a buff unit and it can do a little bit of damage. No morale, but at least it's a unit. You know, we're going to have motivation problems eventually. So we'll buy that guy. And we'll take a look at these next ones on our next episode because we are all out of time for this one. This is a great start to a playthrough of this game. I love this game and I love it more every time I play it. So I hope you guys will join me for episode 2. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more, please consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one.